Hi, my name is Christine Dunning with Two Cats Coaching, and welcome to Teacher Talk. For my first one, I decided to do this as a little webinar. So, welcome. I'm hoping to create a community here for teachers to get together and talk about the issues of the day and what we can do about them. Let me move that out of the way here. Again, I am Christine Dunning. The name of my company is Two Cats Coaching. If you mix all those together and add a .com on the end, you'll find my webpage. I was a public school music teacher, mostly at the elementary level, for over 20 years, primarily in the state of Colorado. I did teach middle and high school, though, as well. One of the things about music teachers is we are certified, at least in the state of Colorado, K through 12. I know there's a lot of things going on in education right now. And believe me, I've been there and I'm here to help. So let's start our talk today by thinking about what are some of the issues going on in schools today and why are teachers leaving at such an alarming rate? Some of it, I'm going to say honestly, I don't think is new. Um, Teacher respect, teacher compensation, understanding the issues that are current in education today, really, which for me, a lot of it stems out of poverty, out of dealing with the aftermath of drug addiction, um, and issues like that. There's so many things going on. Our parents are stressed, which means our children are stressed, which means we're trying to be everything to everybody as an educator. And then you throw COVID on top of that, and um, yeah, things have become alarmingly untenable. Sadly, a lot of these things are not in your control. So, as you think about the things that are going on in your schools that are troubling you, the things that are not in your control, it's a matter of learning to let them go or finding another place to move to. Sadly, we can't fix poverty in one go. We can't fix the anger often that's in our schools right now. We can't fix the fact that kids are behind because learning for the last almost 2 years now has been um, piecemeal as best as we have tried to make it. And nobody likes it. And a lot of people are pretty upset. So let's then talk about the things that are in your control. And a lot of that really is what you bring to the table. So is your mindset in such a place that you can work on those individual relationships, that you can delve through the rising waters of administrative issues, some of which is put in place by our schools and school districts, a lot of which is put in place by our state and federal legislatures. So think about the things that you can control. And so today we were talking about career transitioning specifically. And I want to start first with transitioning within teaching. You don't just have to stay at one school or in one position if that's an issue. You might consider transitioning to a new school if you're in a larger district, transitioning to a different area if you have, such as I did, a K through 12 licensure. If you've always taught elementary, you might want to try a different level and see if that works. And middle school and high schoolers, don't be afraid to try elementary. It's really I found a home there. So consider switching districts. I know that can be a challenge, um, but it's certainly something to look into. Um, Switching subject matters. If you have dual degrees in, say, elementary education and science, and you've been teaching elementary school, maybe you consider teaching middle school science instead, or finding a dedicated science position in an elementary school. And then transitioning out of education. So there is life outside of schools. Can you find it? Do you know what to look for? Do you know how your job skills will translate? We're going to talk more about this in just a second. But first, what you need to do is change your mindset around your teaching position. And this is hard. Teaching in one way, it's a job that everybody at least thinks they understand because the vast majority of people in this country went through public school education or private school education, which looks mostly very similar, unless they were homeschooled. That's a little bit of a different animal. So everybody thinks they know what a teacher does and what a teacher can do. So, and if that's all you've ever really thought about, then how do you move beyond that? What else is there? Mindset issue number one: I'm not employable in other fields. That's not true. Teacher skills are really um, able to transcend through a number of different businesses, whether you do something that's similar, such as working as a career coach or doing training within an organization, or even if you're doing things like project management, which looks really different, but in a lot of ways is not really different from what you've done every day in the classroom. You just have a different group of people you're doing it for. They're usually over the age of 18. Issue number two: I'm a failure if I don't finish. Teaching is a very odd career in the fact that at the age of 22, you go into a classroom, if you've graduated that quickly, into a classroom, and you could really pretty much have the same job with only slight tweaks until you retire at age 65, if you really want to go that long. It's really crazy, but that's true. That the parameters of the job changes, but the actual job doesn't necessarily change. You don't, unless you want to go into administration, which is a different job. And really only handful of people who become teachers want to become administrators. Then that's what you do, you know, and it feels the issue is the concept of teaching being a calling, teaching being something that's bigger than yourself. Um, and there's some truth in that. Teaching is it's a service career, not just in the fact that you're serving others, but that you're serving in that higher capacity. You're growing minds. You're making a direct impact on the future. And it feels like if you one of those people who said, "Oh, that's all I've ever wanted to be. I want to be a teacher because I want to have that impact." And then it doesn't work. Or maybe it worked for a while and it doesn't anymore. You feel that you have failed instead of feeling that the job has failed you, or just that you've grown into something different, or the job has grown into something different. So, just a reminder that if you choose to leave teaching as a career and do something else, it doesn't mean you're a failure. It's okay. So, if you're looking to move out of education, where do you start your search? Well, first of all, you want to think about a few different things here. Number one, do you want to stay within some form of education? Do you want to, for example, look at jobs that deal with educational materials? Do you want to look at being a training manager for a business? Something else where you're also dealing with curriculum. Do you want to be a curriculum writer? any of those sorts of things. Um, there are lots of non-teaching jobs within education. The second thing that's a little different, but a lot of teachers are on retirement programs. I know I was. And if you want to, if you're not ready for retirement yet, if you're not ready to pull your retirement, you may want to consider trying to find a job that feeds into the same retirement system yours does. I'll use mine as an example. I was a member of PARA, which is the state of Colorado government retirement system. And it not only covers teachers, but it covers firefighters and police officers and all the state governmental jobs. So within the state of Colorado, if you want to continue to add more to that specific retirement pot, then you might want to look at your state jobs and see if there's something there that will work for you. Maybe even working for the retirement system itself. If neither one of those is something that appeals to you, either you're not worried about the retirement, or maybe you don't have, maybe your school district doesn't have that retirement system and you don't want to stay in education, now it's a time to start evaluating your skills. And you want to think of your skills as a business would look at them. So instead of saying that you taught second grade, now you talk about the fact that you did instructional design, you designed curriculum, that you implemented that design. Talk about data gathering, talk about managing varying levels of people, talk about evaluation, and look at those things from a business lens. I'm not saying you're going to lie and say, well, I wasn't a teacher, I was an instructional designer. No, but you're going to you're going to highlight those skills that you used as in your educational career and use those to move you forward. So this is really quick. This is just a taster today. Things you should start looking at right away if you are looking at doing any kind of job change. Number one, rewrite your resume. It's time. It's a good thing. This is really something we should all do at least once a year, is update our resumes, and really a resume and then also a CV. The CV being the full length version of everything you've ever done. The resume being the brief version that you would send to a company. If you don't already, number two, get yourself on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's got a ton of stuff for people for free. You don't have to join LinkedIn, um, or you can join on a short-term basis if you want to conduct a job search through there. You can put your resume on. You can post information about what you're interested in. The third thing is to work with a career coach counselor like me. I'm a life coach certified to help people, and people I want to help are teachers because I've been there. Um, my personal journey uh, involved a lot of gig economy because that's something I'm very comfortable with. My background as a musician leads me to feeling comfortable working in gigs. And yes, I pay for my own insurance, and you can do it. It is possible. So if you do want to have some sessions, my first session with me is always free. And right now I'm doing some pretty good discounts on everything else. Reach out to me at twocatscoaching.com. Um, there are several ways to contact me on that site. It's very easy to do. I am happy to pop on a Zoom with you, answer all your questions as best as I can, and let's get you feeling more comfortable about the concept of transitioning, whether it's, again, within education, if you want to stay a teacher. I know a lot of my friends are still passionate about teaching, even though they're really frustrated. Or if you're like me and you felt like it was time to move on, then let me help you with that. Thanks so much for listening to my little chat here. I hope you'll come to a live teacher talk sometime soon as we explore other issues around education. Take care. Look for me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Meetup. Thank you.